Just a sort of a understanding of what you're saying from a different angle. I don't think, it would be nice if we all think like I think. No, it's not possible. But if we can more often than not start to entertain the thought, actually the way you expressed it, that this person's life is not right or wrong. It's sort of a very thin way to start with a definition of another life, placing it in the category of right or wrong, or in my terminology, standing under the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then make a judgment about another's life. It's very thin. And if I would use the word thin, yes, I mean a lot by the word thin. I mean it's stupid. I mean it's ridiculous. I mean it's absurd. I mean all those things in the word thin, that making that judgment that your life is wrong, or even a small segment, aspect, behavior, way of thinking is wrong, is too thin for us to proceed sensibly with what we want to do. So making that kind of definition, that kind of assessment, should be superseded by something else that's different than just the right and wrong. And maybe there is where things like grace and love and conditional positive regard, things like that comes to play. That we can act more in that spirit, that ambiance, that atmosphere, that energy. Defining it in that way will mean much more to someone else than being defined or just placed in the category of right and wrong. It's very thin. I know we do that. I do it in my mind sometimes with people, and I would think that is stupid. And stupid means wrong. It's not right. But I think in our work, in that domain, we can't go there to define someone as right or wrong. Be that as it may, a client comes to you with some kind of heart's cry, some kind of, please, I'm also confused, I also don't know, I also feel pain, I also feel I want to lean on someone because I'm too weak. That is also a reality. So if we would prevent ourselves or abstain from saying your heart's cry, your cry for help, your coming to me to journey with you. There are many words to describe that vulnerability that a client, just for being with you, that vulnerability that they step into, to just say, I will call you and come to you to help me. There is this kind of a sacredness that we have to look upon that. A kind of a, you trust me with your life, huh? You come to me to talk deep things. You come to me to express things that you don't express to everyone every day. You come to me and give me a complimentary ticket to sit in the front row of this theatre on which is on the stage where you're gonna play your life out to me. I don't know what words. It's just I'm trying actually just to express my experience sometimes of the sacredness of that moment. That how utterly sacred I feel in that moment. How tender, sensitive sometimes, how privileged, how in awe, that my jaw doesn't drop often is a miracle. Because it's like, and it's not a, what did you do? It's a, do you grant me this privilege? Do you allow me this privilege? So if we can combine on the one side, realizing the person doesn't come there to sit with you not to change. They do come there to want to change. That's why they are there. They do come to you because they want to enter a different future in some way, even just a small way. They do want to journey in a new direction with certain things, maybe not all, but with certain things of their lives. Because a client will not come to you because they don't think something is or everything is right or okay. They come because they have a need. But we should meet it in some very respectful way. A very sacred, again comes to mind, a very holy ground way. To meet that vulnerability, it would be so bad if you and I sit there and we now take it through our filters and our lenses and our paradigms and our ways of viewing the world, and we call that wrong. It cannot be wrong. For the client might not be in our frame of reference, and the client might say, this is wrong about my life. I hate this about my life. I don't want this in my life. I have this need. However they verbalize that. We cannot enter the client's world in that way. We should have some kind of distance, and now I'm at a loss of words to explain true empathy, because what I'm attempting here is, in a way, trying to explain true empathy, that you enter your client's world as close to the experience of your client. But in the same breath that you do, you are distant to hold a sacred paradigm, a sacred viewing, a respectful viewing on this chaotic world that you've allowed yourself to enter. I am very thin in my explanation here, but I am accurate in my explanation here. That never should we see a client's anything as right or wrong, but it doesn't discount, cancel, take away the fact that your client sees things in a way that they would call wrong. This is wrong. I need it changed. I want to grow out of it. I want to leave it behind. I don't want this as part of my life. Because they don't come to you not to change. So a balance that we might bring to that relationship, which is, in a way, and the more you're going to practice this, boy, if I can make, I've got a heart to help us all to become coaches. I'll find a plan for us. And by grace, we will become coaches, or helping people. That we should balance, on the one side, realizing this person is in need, but looking at it in this way, not this way. Not you, the knowledgeable, know-it-all, with all the wisdom about transformation in humanity or in behavior, being, and we are clever. But not to go there and to look at this, oh, poor clients. And I know you're not going there. I'm just expressing it in a very strong way to make the point. That like so, on that level, same level, always the same level. Always empathizing there where the client is, always meeting the client there, always moving to the client and wanting, in your utmost best way, try to understand this person's world. but yeah, not feasting on the tree of knowledge of good and evil when we do that. I think the construct, the concept, the idea is communicated. It feels like we hear what is being said here. But there's more to it than this. There's really something deep in meeting someone and seeing someone. And in the process, even feeling love for someone. And listen, this person is a stranger. And listen, this person will most probably remain a stranger. And the stranger in this case is defined as someone that you've sat with eye to eye, heart to heart for only 10 hours of her life, and you've never seen her again. Never again. But in those 10 hours, your hunger to make the most of those 10 hours, to make the difference that you feel you are called to make the difference that you feel you can. For 10 hours, sometimes just 6, sometimes just 4. Sometimes a client comes to me and I never see them again. 1 hour, never see them again. For us, in a different way to think about this, for us to make our lives count. You remember my little story about Saving Private Ryan? Go out and earn this life. In my construct, I didn't say that night. To me, it's like Christ that said, I've given my life. Go and make the most of this life that I've given you. It need not be for everyone like that, but for me, that's the pinnacle of that little story for me. So going out and making the most of this life, and this life, and this life, and this life, and that life, and the lives there, would mean that even the smallest opportunity, like an hour in a life, if you really go, and I'm not good with maths, but you go and you work out, if I go and work out 53 years times, how many years that has been, how many months, how many weeks, how many hours. It must be hundreds of thousands of hours that I've been alive. Or even if you're just 20, it's so many hours that you've been alive. So many hours that you've lived, so many hours that you've just climbed your little ladder, which is your little place in the world, against this wall which you believe is the right wall. And you calculate that you get the grace for 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, to make some kind of significant. I'm talking about an utter significant, not just briefly touch, meet, hour has passed, and then you move on, next client come, and you carry on. But you can, in that hour, make the difference that you are granted to make. I think things that I'm trying to explain here is maybe the way to go. It's maybe how we should approach this. It's maybe what we should do. For me, summed up in one construct, idea, word, it's maybe love. Maybe it's love. Maybe that is love. Because love in itself is a very hard thing to live. I think more often than not, if it's up to us, we would choose not to love. We would choose to judge or to walk away or to cancel or to say no or to say that's too deep or whatever. There are so many things that a brain can process, a mind can process. But if we were to meet, I'm talking about that meeting, that connection. I'm talking about that, what you bring in an hour, what you would offer a client. It might not be, and we should not confuse, because in my mind I don't confuse it with the following, that you want rocket science and change this person's world as if that person has never seen or met what they've experienced I'm not going there because that will throw us in imbalance and might bring us to a place where we think now it depends on doing and not beingness. And that's also not what I'm trying to communicate here. I think what I'm trying to communicate is a kind of a beingness that operates on such a level of contentness and an understanding of significance that you and I can come to a place to believe that an encounter with us in an hour is significant in a deep way, in a profound way. It will make a difference. And then again, like one client that I sat with, if I can use that as an example today, this is how the session went. So she, lovely lady, 65, 65. She's broken because of one of her sons. He's up to many things, 33 years old, can't hold a job, live as I gather, a very promiscuous kind of life. He does many things. I don't want to divulge all the stuff. I just want to come to a place in my explanation that now she sits there and she starts to read to me the 45 minutes just reading WhatsApps that he sent her. It was kind of quite a surprise to me that someone can write so many WhatsApps and so long WhatsApps. So she's just reading the WhatsApp there because she wants to paint the picture for me as to her son so that she can help me understand her own pain. And reading. I am attentive, I'm present, I'm listening, trying to gather a picture, trying to understand maybe more her pain than what she says about her son, that obviously reflects and causes her pain. And after an hour, she says, "What advice can you give me?" And I'm at a loss, I don't have advice. So I just told her, "I think you're such a beautiful mother. Such a beautiful mother. I think you make such a difference to your children. It seems like you love your children, and you would go to great lengths in loving your children." And that was it. That was it. I could have said a bit more that I'm not sharing here now. But in an hour, I thought that was the most I could give. I thought that was what I could give. I had no wisdom, I had no good advice, I had no, "Listen, let me give you a revelation as to how you proceed from here." And if I now reflect as I speak about it, I think, no, I did give respect. I was empathetic with her pain. I did listen deeply. I would even dare to say I could even understand her pain, a little bit about it. I could even say that I withheld any judgment from who I would think her son is by what she revealed about him. And maybe in that whole experience, love was expressed. And I think it was significant to her. She did smile and she did want to give me a hug. So I think I hear myself saying that that maybe it's not all about a lot of knowing. Maybe it's not all about having read all the books on coaching. Maybe it's not all about having some degrees, which all these things that I mentioned here is not hurting us. It's not wrong. But maybe there is the possibility and the potential to connect with people. And now what you said, Nicole, about what Gregory Boyle, the terminology that he uses, is to maybe in a moment she was returned to herself. Maybe. I would dare to say she was. She was returned to herself. She was affirmed in her beingness. She was acknowledged, the person that she is. And maybe that made the difference. I think if we can grow in entertaining this kind of posture in life, this way of being, we might, all of us, come someday to a place in the end where if we were to look back, we would say, I really did earn this life, didn't I? I was really poured out as to what I was born to give. I really did make the difference that I dreamt about. I did touch lives that in some way maybe directed them or nudged them in a more fuller life, where they released more of their potential, lived more completely in their purpose. Somehow I think we all, whether we're living that, whether we're experiencing it, we all want to in the end come to that and say, if I think back about this life and you would do this life lived, I could honestly say, I did live. I really lived. Now, in the layers of what I'm trying to describe here, there's a lot of tough stuff that goes on. There's a lot of mundane stuff that goes on. There's a lot of so-called insignificant stuff that goes on. Like having to drive from here to there. The driving is not the thing. You want to get there because there you make a difference. But you have to drive. Like changing the nappies. Like, I don't know. If we can cultivate a mindset this week, someone I don't know, I'm trying to think of who was with me. Could have been you. We sat down at a place where we were going to eat, and we all ordered water to start off with. And the waitress brought the water. And I felt this moment is more than just water. And I said to her, Jesus once said that if you give a glass of water to the least one that belongs to me, the smallest one, the most insignificant one that belongs to me, it is as if you are giving me water. And then I added and said, you just gave Jesus water. And she was overwhelmed, like stunned, overwhelmed. It was just nothing. It was nothing. It's a job, it's a client, It's water, it's a glass. Or was it nothing? It doesn't sound like it was nothing. And it's not me, it's got nothing to do with me. It's got to do with kind of a mindset, I think, that we need to cultivate. That is possible if I can make some kind of reflecting back on a kind of a measurement of my own personal growth. The first time I've read Tattoos on the Heart, and he describes these homies, ex-gang leaders, sitting in a kitchen, having baked a chicken or a turkey. And you can imagine the poverty amongst those people. So there's maybe just a very cheap table and very cheap chairs, and maybe not much in the cupboards, and a chicken or a turkey in the oven. And he describes it as if God Himself is present at that table. It seems like it's got nothing to do with the physical reality of what's going on there, but everything to do with the way we look. And the first time I read it, I don't know how long ago, it could have been 2 or 3 years ago that I read the book the first time. I thought to myself, I've never met someone that can define the simplicity of life and the naturalness of life in such a godly, holy, sacred way. I want to be like that. I want to see a table and a person and a chair and a glass of water. I want to see it like that. And when someone gives you a glass of water and you see that, or at least I did, I felt good about life. I felt good about this woman stands next to me in her apron serving me. I felt good about God. I felt I'm moving forward. It was 3 years ago when I read about this. I thought, how is it possible? How is it possible to see life this way? How is it possible to look upon someone and see that? And it's possible. It is possible.
What would you call that mindset? Cultivate a mindset of what? Humility.
I think so. The true reality for me, if I were to give that kind of mindset a name, it's the mind of Christ. Because according to me, He's the only one that can look at every single person in a way that He says, I desire you more than what you desire me. I love you more than what you currently love me.